First raindrops settle onto my cheek. It's warm despite the cold Chicago air. Gusts of wind blow between the lit-up skyscrapers, rustling my long locks. I spent an hour curling my hair for really no reason at all. I'm sure it resembles more of a bird's nest rather than a soft, loose ringlets I created earlier. I catch a glimpse of myself in the window and the clothes business. Yep, my blonde hair is exactly how I pictured it. And my pencil skirt has twisted 180 degrees clockwise, and I swivel it back into place. And I tie my trench coat close. Cars and city buses whoosh past me. Horns blare intermittently. Traffic is the sound of the city. I've lived here for a long time, so it's become more like white noise to me. It's comforting, a reminder that I'm not alone. I breathe in the crisp fall air, savor it, because I know it won't last more than a couple weeks. As a Midwestern, the 4 seasons are like a personality trait to us. We'll brag that we have all of them, gush about our hot summers, our snowy holidays, and our colorful falls, and our blooming springs. But we always leave out the fact that they're not divided up evenly, remotely, equally. 3 months of a hot, humid summer, 2 months of a rainy spring, 2 weeks of a heavenly fall, and 6.5 months of a stone-cold winter. But it's like the weather right now that makes it all worth it, even if it's fleeting. It's a short-lived moment where life happens. Another raindrop hits my cheek. I wipe it away, but realize it isn't rain that's streaking my face, it's tears. I'm crying, and I don't even know why. He told me he loved me. I told him I didn't love him back. It's simple, like a math equation. 2 plus 1 does not equal 4. Their feelings weren't mutual. It's just, it doesn't work. But if it's the simple as then why am I crying? Maybe it was the look in his eyes, the way he was stunned. No, he was devastated. Like he had imagined it playing out very differently. Like me saying I didn't feel the same way was never even a remote possibility. He asked me a couple times if I was sure. I told him I was. I was sure, wasn't I? He reminded me of the good times we had, and we had a lot of them. But I said no. I said I'm sorry. I said I don't feel the same way about you. His shoulders slumped. Tears threatened to spill from his eyes. He tucked his chin up, and his gaze fell to the ground. I immediately felt guilty, or at least that's what I thought I felt, guilt. It sat in my stomach like a rock, heavy and all-consuming. Then he nodded and walked away. That was that. But if that was that, why am I crying? Why do I feel so empty? I wipe my face with the sleeve of my coat. It makes no difference because they just keep falling, like rains from the blotted cloud pushed beyond its limits. There must be coming from somewhere. In an intersection, I wait for the walk signal to turn. Cars pass by in a blur, and it's not because they're driving fast. It's because I can't stop crying. It feels like I'm viewing the world through glass, unsure of my place in it. "Hey, miss," a voice calls out. Startled, I turn around quickly to find a large man dressed in a faded sweatpants and an old, oversized jacket. He's more than twice my size, or maybe I see him that way because I feel so small right now. His skin is withered, evidence of a hard life. His eyes are kind, evidence that he hasn't had a lot of hard times hidden. Pinched between his thumb and pointer finger are a torn piece of cardboard and a message written in Sharpie. It reads, "Down on my luck, anything helps." Despite a sign, somehow the corners of his lips turn up. Without thinking, I reach into my purse and pull out a couple of $1 bills. It's the only reason I carry a small amount of cash on me at all times. My friend Maya has always warned me that it's dangerous giving money to others, and that I might get robbed or worse in the process. But I always say, if it's dangerous to help other people, then my middle name must be Danger. I know the difference between needing help and not needing it can come down to one bad instant and one wrong decision. I can't control whether you need help or not, but you can control whether or not you help. "It's all I have," I say, extending the dollar a tender smile. He glances down at my hand and meets my gaze. "Then it's all I need. Thank you, miss. Bless you." His grin never fades or falters as he accepts the cash and nods. Just as he's about to turn away, the man stops and squints, doing a double take. "You all right?" he asks. I wipe my face again and sniffle. "Yeah, My answer doesn't come out even remotely convincing. But I assume he'll say okay and be on his way. That's the socially acceptable thing to do. That's what everyone does. Stuffs the dollars in his coat pockets and shuffles on his feet. I'm sorry, miss, but I don't believe you. I nibble on my bottom lip, trying to stop it from quivering. I don't know what to say. That wasn't at all the response I was expecting. No, I'm fine. I force a smile, but it's a choked one. Though I'm sure I look like a total mess, complete with the smeared mascara, bloodshot eyes, and tangled hair. But my disheveled appearance doesn't seem to faze him. He presses his lips together and studies my face. Then why are you crying? I shrug and glance down at my shoes. I'm not sure, I say. I'm embarrassed that I'm crying in front of a man. I doubtly embarrassed that I can't even explain why I'm crying. Deep down you must. I'm Hank, by the way. He extends his hand towards me. Then I look at his face, covered in salt and pepper facial stubble, and then a large calloused hands, complete with nearly trimmed nails. Hank, I'm Peyton. My hand disappears in his. We shake. Like the football player? Yeah, but after Walter, not Manning. Mine spelled like Manning, because my dad got the spelling wrong, but my mom doesn't correct it, because she likes it better with E rather than A. But yeah, I like the football player, realizing I'm rambling and trailing off and fiddling with my fingers. Hank chuckles. Glad that's after Walter, especially here in Chicago. Yeah, me too. Feels like I'm submerged underwater, so I know these damn tears keep falling. I wish I could turn them off, and I try to grin through them instead. I must look unhinged right now, but Hank doesn't seem to notice or care. He simply smiles. Shoving his hands into his coat pockets, he rocks back on his heels, and his face turns to a jovial to serious. So tell me what happened to you tonight. I can't leave you out here crying without at least trying to make you feel better. I sniffle and clear my throat. It's nothing. It's silly, actually. If it's got you crying, it must not be silly to you. I break my gaze again, staring down at my feet for a moment before looking back at Hank. His kind eyes search mine, and his brow draws together as though he really is concerned about me. I don't know this man, but I get the feeling he would stand out here all night talking to me if need be. Well, a guy told me he loved me tonight. Hank scratches his chin to make a humph sound. Sounds awful, he says, stealing a sarcasm in a small grin. I nod and laugh again at the same time. I told you it was silly. He flicked his hands. Nah, there's got to be more to it. How did you respond to his declaration of love? Well, I lower my chin and wipe the wet face again, but it feels more like I'm trying to mop the ocean. I told him I didn't love him back. The walk signal turns again and the cars steadily pass through the intersection. We're in the city of nearly 3 million, surrounded by people, but right now I feel like the only Hank and I exist. A city bus honks as the car emerges onto a lane. Car swivel back into traffic continues without a hiccup. I divert my attention to Hank. Oh, he raises a brow and runs his fingers down the side of his jaw. I see what's going on here. What do you see? I ask, hoping I can see whatever he can. Hank talks with his hands, and he's giving a lecture of some sort. It reminds me of my dad, and I find it both endearing and comforting. This man told you he loved you. You told him you didn't love him back. Now you're crying on a street corner. I know I didn't make you cry, or at least I hope I didn't. This beautiful fall night didn't make you cry. The man that told you he loved you didn't make you cry, so it must be what you said back. A hiccup escapes me like I swallow something, and I wasn't ready for perhaps the truth. I blink several times trying to make sense of what he's saying. I know what he's getting at, but sometimes you can't see right in front of you because you're looking through it. I just told him how I felt, I said with a shrug. Did you? Yeah. It comes out with a high pitch and loud, as though I'm trying to convince him and myself maybe too. Did the truth come from your heart or from your brain? He asked. Aren't they the same thing? Not at all. He lifts up his chin. The heart loves, the brain thinks, and sometimes the two don't agree. My wife was 12 years old, and then told me when we met. I was 26. She was nearly 40. My heart loved her. My brain needed some convincing. Damn thing didn't think it was a good idea to love a woman more than a decade older than me. I tried to get in the way. Tried to tell me I should be with someone my own age. Someone who would live as long as I did. Someone I could have a big family with, but my heart wants what the heart wants. I got nearly 40 perfect years with that woman. I didn't have children, but we had each other, and it was more than enough. Just like my brain had warned, she did pass before me, around 2 years ago, from cancer. We drained our savings and lost our house trying to keep up with the medical bills. But it wasn't enough. He pulls his chin in. I'm sorry, Hank. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm sure I'm alone now. But I lived a hell of a good life with her, and I won't change it, not for none of it. Even though my brain sometimes tries to make me regret my choices, that love in my heart is so much stronger, and it alone will carry me to my next life. So to answer your question, Peyton, no, the brain and the heart aren't the same thing. There are tears in his eyes, but this time he finishes speaking, the tears in mine are even more than doubled. Now I'm crying for both of us. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Nothing to be sorry about. I'm an incredible lucky man. Don't I look like it? He gestured to himself with a laugh. But I am. How are you that different? How do you know the difference, I asked, between what? Your heart and your brain. Why did you tell the man you didn't love him? He asked. I bite my lower lip, trying to think up a reason, and I'm struggling to find the right answer. Why did I tell him that? Because I fiddled with my fingernails. They're freshly manicured and painted in a light pink. Because why? He presses. Because I didn't want to get hurt, I think. You think? Hank lifts his brow. That doesn't sound like your heart talking. I didn't want it to end, and I never let it start. You didn't want it to end, so you never let it start. I don't know. My head falls slightly forward, and I exhale. It sounds like you let your brain make the decision, and your heart was the one crying because of it. Trust me, Peyton. It's better to live with a broken heart than to never let anyone in the first place. Mine has split down the middle for the past 2 years, but I still have both halves. Tears escape my eyes in a steady, uncontrollable stream. But what if nothing? Hank interrupts, and the heart doesn't ask what ifs. The heart just does. Like when I asked you for help. You didn't hesitate. You gave me those few dollars without even thinking. Why? I don't know. I shrug. You asked for something and I had it, so I gave it to you. That's your heart. But that's different. Is it? His brow knits together because I don't think it is. This man is asking for your love. Don't you have love to spare? Well, yeah. You said you were scared that he might end. That's why you said no. But love is endless. It has no end. Ask yourself, do you love him? I think. No, Hank cuts me off. Don't tell me what you think. Tell me if you love him. My eyes close for a moment and I picture him. In all the ways I've seen him. In all the moments we've shared. I see his smile, as bright as he is. His goofy face that can flip my mood from sad to happy in a nanosecond. His pensive look reserved for when he's working or listening intently. His laughter is so genuine and infectious, it makes everyone laugh too. His frown that lets only those closest to him see. My skin begins to tingle just thinking about him. My heart beats a little faster. I feel a warmness come over me, like I'm nestled up in a fire rather than standing outside in the middle of October. And then I picture him, not in my life, like earlier when he turned and walked away without looking back at me. What if he never turned around again? What if he simply kept on walking, right out of my life? The coldness runs through me, leaving me both numb and in pain. My stomach feels empty and sick at the same time, and my heartbeat is barely there, jumping just enough to keep me alive, but not enough to feel alive. Realization sets in, my eyes spring open. I love him. The words tumbled out of my mouth as though I'd been tucked under my tongue, waiting to be untethered. I know, Hank said with a chuckle, but it's too late. I already told him no. Nonsense, it's never too late. You didn't see his face, I said with a sigh. I broke his heart. No more than broke it. I don't think there's a way back from that. A group of 20-somethings walked past us, giving Hank and me a once-over, and whispered to one another and crossed the street, glancing back for a second time. I refocused my attention on the wise, kind man standing before me. That's where you're wrong, Peyton. There's always a way back. He pointed off in the direction I came from. Now go tell the boy that you love him. But what if... Hank holds up his large hand, stopping me from rattling on. What did I tell you about what ifs? I know. Okay. I nodded several times, trying to perk myself up enough to follow through. I built walls so tall around myself that it seems impossible to break down. But if I don't do it now, I'll never see what's on the other side. I have to. I can't keep everyone at arm's length because I'm scared to lose them. I repeat Hank's mantra silently to myself. It's better to live with a broken heart than to never let anyone in it in the first place. I'll tell him right now, I say. Then get. He flashes his teeth and motions for me to go with a flick of his wrist. Thanks, Hank, I say, turning on my feet. No, thank you. He waves me off, and I burst into a full wobbled sprint. These heels were barely made for walking, let alone running. Follow your heart. It never steers you wrong, he yells, and I can't help but smile. It's so simple, yet I've never followed it. At the end of the block, I kick off my heels and choose to carry them instead, fearing I'll sprain my ankle if I continue. Despite the thick tights I'm wearing, I can still feel the cold pavement at the bottom of my feet. It doesn't deter me. I keep running away from the most things nearly my whole life, and now I'm finally running towards everything I've ever wanted. Right as I come to the intersection, the crosswalk signal lights up, and it's as though the city is escorting me to my destination. I can't believe I told him no. I always do this to myself deep down. I must have known I was lying as soon as the words left my mouth, but I couldn't help it. The easiest person to lie to is yourself because you don't question your own thoughts. You accept them as fact even when they're not. It's just reflections, like looking in a mirror. We see ourselves, but we don't see how others see us. We are distorted versions, and my feet slap against the sidewalk. Raindrops fall from the sky, real ones this time. They're thick, cold, and scattered. Then all of a sudden, they burst from the cloud bearing the sky above me. My phone rings and I stop abruptly, nearly tumbling over. My hands drive to my purse, scrambling to retrieve it. Maybe it's him. Maybe he could sense that I was running back to him. My screen reads the funniest person I know is calling. It's Maya. She changed her name to that in my contact list the last years or so. I never changed it back because it's true. I click accept. I hold my phone to my ear and pick up my pace again, running down the sidewalk. I've wasted enough time. I'm not going to waste any more of it. I'm just a few blocks away from his apartment, and my life could have been living all along. Hey, I say. Hey girl, hey. Wait, why are you out of breath? Oh, did I catch you in the middle of sex? She giggles. No, but Myra, I'm done. Done with what? I'm done with serial dating, short-lived relationships. I'm done with all of it. Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, and all those other dating apps. I know who I love. I know who I want to be with. Are you drunk, Peyton? Her voice raised. It's clearly that she has her phone pressed firmly against her ear, so she can hear me better, analyze whether I'm slurring my words or not. On the other end, there's a lot of background noise, loud voices, laughter, and someone speaking into a microphone. She must be at Zany's, waiting to perform. Or maybe she just finished her set. No, I'm not drunk. Car blares its horn at me, and I run through another intersection and put my hand up to my mouth. Sorry, I'll keep going. Nothing is going to stop me because I've already removed the greatest barrier myself. Where are you? Are you okay? Maya asked, her voice full of concern. Yes, I'm fine. I just haven't been seeing clearly. I can see now. He's my soulmate. He's the one I'm supposed to be with. I love him. I'm going to tell him right now before it's too late. Who are you talking about? The consultant guy? That'd be cool, since he has Burek bucks. Or the contractor. He came in handy. Get it? She chuckles. Ooh, is it the chef? Maybe his meal he prepped for me? Another car lays its horn. Tires screech far too late, and I see a set of blinding headlights only a meter second before I don't see them anymore. A gut-wrenching scream escapes me, and my feet leave the ground. And it feels like I'm flying. Maya yells my name through the speaker, and the other screams, and I'm not sure where they are coming from. Glass shatters, more tires screech and squeal. Metal crashes into metal, and I see the raindrops fall from the sky, and I fall with them. My body slams me to the ground with a thud. Something cracks against the pavement, and I'm sure it's my skull. And then there is no rain. There's no sound. There's nothing.